WWE has new ownership, and Vince McMahon has a new look. The WWE and UFC are now one entity, following an acquisition by Endeavor, in a deal large enough for Vinnie Mac to twirl his new mustache.
Has the UFC bought WWE? Apparently, the UFC company has bought WWE for a total estimated $9.4 billion. This is one of the biggest mergers in sports entertainment, summing up to 21.4 million?
Billion.
Billion? Would it be?
With a B.
Would it be?
Shit is real, B.
Let them know.
Nah, cause so here's the thing, right? UFC has 51% of the company. WWE has 49%. What I think it is if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it's UFC buying out WWE or if it's a new merger company. Because what it sounds like to me is that, Dana White and Vince McMahon, the two most scandalous people in fighting entertainment right now, have come together and combined what they have collectively. So WWE is still going to be ran by Vince McMahon. UFC still be ran by Dana White, obviously. But this new parent company, UFC has 51%. Vince McMahon has 49%. And it's basically going to be, an umbrella company that encompasses the same, I believe, profits, the same income, the same sponsorships, all that shit together.
So the UFC and the WWE, apparently, as ideas, they've merged.
They're coming as a package deal now.
Really?
So basically what's happening is they're no longer separate. And honestly, it is a big deal. A lot is going to change, but not a lot is going to change in the consumer's point of view. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot is going to change in the sense of these two white men are going to get a lot more money. You know what I mean? There's more negotiating power. Now there's more negotiating leverage. You know what I mean? So it's for example, if you're a pay-per-view, WWE doesn't really even do pay-per-view anymore. But long story short, if you are a company that's doing business with one, you used to be able to do business with one and not the other, or the other and not with WWE and not UFC. But now they come as a package deal. So it's considered if Coca-Cola and Pepsi were coming together now. It's if McDonald's was fuck you to Pepsi and KFC was fuck you to Coca-Cola, it wasn't really necessarily a problem before. But now it's if I piss y'all off, I lose fucking Pepsi and Coca-Cola. I gotta serve niggas RC.
Which is a good question, right? So how do you think the monopolizing of essentially the sports, the fighting entertainment industry, right? How do you think that's going to affect the overall world? Because there's not a lot of independent wrestling companies anymore, are they?
I mean, there's AEW, but here's the thing, right? Nobody's trying to actually compete with WWE. You know what I'm saying? WWE is Vince. And Vince is once again with the foresight, which I'll delve more into in a little bit. But Vince McMahon has been moving away from the term wrestling for a long time. He's always done the sports entertainment thing. A lot of people try to sum it up to his steroids trial. They try to say, he doubled down on it during the steroids trial so that he didn't have to, he avoids certain tax. There's a lot of regulation.
I remember that. He was definitely the greatest boss in all of sports entertainment.
Yeah. So, but but a lot of people try to directly correlate it to that. But I've heard interviews from people that have mentioned that he was speaking as far as sports entertainment way before, the trial. The trial is what put it, even more in your face. But he used to hate WCW because he was they're wrestling, we're sports entertainment. You know what I mean? But it definitely is gonna be fucking crazy because here's the thing, right? It's in boxing right now, every day a star is born. I know they got a lot of dudes that are coming up, names that I don't want to butcher, so I'm not going to say, but there's no one as big as the Floyd Mayweathers anymore. There's no one as big as the Mike Tysons anymore in boxing.
Yep,
you know
that's
what I mean?
true.
So I don't see there being any other huge, fighting entertainment sources
that can compete.
It's but it's been that way. And this is why I say this is just a money, that's just them raking it in. You know what I'm saying?
At this point.
And I'm not surprised, and I don't think much will change because, the headlines sound good. A lot of people are what is this going to mean? What is it going to bring? Nothing's really going to change because, honestly, UFC and WWE have been in cahoots for a long time.
Yeah.
UFC...
well, that makes sense. There's a lot of people who have And now that you mention that, it's kind of funny because there's a lot of WWE stars that have gone back and forth between both the WWE and the UFC. Brock Lesnar being the main one.
Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, but
David Batista.
But this is what people don't really think about, right? Like those are the big names, but yo, bro, this started with fucking Ken Shamrock.
Yes.
In the 90s, bro.
Yeah.
Like, this is pre-Attitude Era. Or even if it was the Attitude Era, this is before The Rock was even... Because when Ken Shamrock came to WWF, his first feud was with The Rock.
Yes.
The Rock was like Intercontinental Champion at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's how early this has been going on. And a lot of it is because it's one of those get down or lay downs. Like, Vince has had his enemies, you know, but a lot of his enemies preceded his prime, you know what I'm saying? But ever since he's gotten to his prime, you know what I mean, he's always kind of identified the upcoming company or the upcoming hot thing, and you know, made friends with them, you know. So because like, all right, yeah, you could even point at ECW, you know, he was friends, he got in cahoots with ECW earlier because he saw where it was going. With UFC, it's one of the number one things that when that came out, could have been seen as a threat when after it was, you know, considered outlaw and taboo, you know, when it started really legitimizing and becoming a big entity. A lot of the influence it had on the WWE was the WWE moving away from what they call kayfabe, which is the belief that wrestling is real. Because now, on a grand scale, we're seeing people get fucking punched and kicked and knocked out and all this shit on pay-per-view. Makes it a lot harder to believe, you know, what we see in the ring for kids. You know, we been knew it wasn't fake, wasn't real, but
exactly.
So they've been, you know, in cahoots with UFC. So I don't think much is gonna change. Vince is still gonna have control over. They say he's still the executive. Like, I don't think long story short, I don't think Dana White's gonna be giving his input on the next SummerSlam, and I don't think Vince McMahon is gonna be having UFC fighters come outside the ring and hit each other with steel chairs.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I mean, the thing I think about is just some people just being terrified. Like, this is terrifying news. Like, Ronda Rousey's somewhere punching the air right now. She's just like, I left the league because I was getting fucked up. Like, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to wrestle.
Nah, he ain't about to make her go fight, you know what I'm saying, to keep her women's championship. Like, you want the women's title? I need to fucking do it. I need you to do it or you're fired.
Like, I think that's what I think. Like, in this merger, there's a lot of people that are gonna be unnecessary. So I think like just him, like, cause I don't know the state. I haven't seen Vince McMahon on TV in years. Like, I haven't seen him in years. So I think it's just funny, like him like rolling in a wheelchair in match rooms, like, oh, Vince McMahon, like, hey, how's it going? Hey, that's pretty good. You're fired. And then he just rolls off. Like, he just go, and you just hear it down the hall. Like,
he's got the do-rag again. Remember do-rag Vince McMahon?
Oh, wow.
Yo, do-rag. Yo, if there's anything that happens from this merger, I hope we get do-rag Vince McMahon back. I don't know why we would, but I just hope this merger
I think he modernized. I hope he modernizes. Get Wave Cap.
Get Wave Cap.
Wave Cap. Here it is. Here's the official. All right, this is the official sponsor. All right, for Wave Cap. This is the petition right here. This right here. Take this as the public petition. I'm the first one. I want Wave Cap Vince McMahon. All right,
Wave Cap Vince McMahon, man.
Facts.
We need to, you know, I want y'all to go in the comments and say we want Wave Cap.
Hashtag Wave Cap McMahon. Hashtag Wave Cap McMahon. Make that shit trend.
Now, you know what I do think is gonna happen a lot more, because they were already pretty cool as far as I know, or at least it appeared that they were pretty cool for a while. But with them now definitely being the same profitable company, you know, I think we're gonna get a lot more UFC fighting wrestlers that go back for a UFC match. So what I think is gonna happen a lot easier now is, I think, you know, like a Brock Lesnar, for example, will be doing his thing in WrestleMania, in WWE, and a UFC fighter will be able to come out and call out a Brock Lesnar, you know what I'm saying, genuinely too, not for, you know what I'm saying,
not for play.
And
that could
Brock
lead to
Lesnar
like
could go over there and do a one-off. And honestly, you know, as I'm saying it, I see Vince McMahon encouraging that. I'm not gonna lie, because now he profits from it. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, that's a fact, and so does Dana White. So he's like, I have nothing to lose. You know, like
what I see happen. I'm not a big follower of you know, UFC networks and what they have going on, but I know how immaculate the WWE network is.
Yes.
What I see is I think that's going to be one of the most profitable mergers. I
giving
definitely see them
that
that
type
channel.
of structure to the
Yeah.
UFC and making that kind of accessible in that way.
They may already have it. I don't know, but I think it'll be
Yeah.
merged. I think the WWE network and the
Yeah.
UFC network are going to come out with something that it's a merged
As
one.
far as I know, and listen, if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. Please let me know in the comments. But as far as I know, there's not a huge, like, I know how the WWE network is in terms of like how you pay a subscription and the history and everything is there.
Yeah.
The documentaries are all available for you. I don't really think that UFC has that as far as I know. So I think that would be cool if they kind of gave that kind of that platforming, you know what I'm saying? Like that kind of method of presenting all of UFC's history.
I would love
so
that.
So you can watch past fights and watch past beefs and stuff like that, and put the shows.
I'm gonna for the sake of how big UFC is,
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume they have something like that. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But just for the sake of this convo, let's assume they have something like that, right?
Yeah.
Where I really see this going is that you aren't gonna have to click over from
Yeah.
it. It's gonna be in one centralized place.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna have to leave this app to get your wrestling or your UFC.
Good,
You know
because
what
it's
I mean?
like, because to me it's like Steam for PC. That's great. That's the shit that everybody use. I don't want to use like Ubisoft shit. Like I don't want to use Uplay. I don't have to download their browser and download shit on
Yeah,
there.
that's the thing. Like it's two different subscriptions. It's two different
exactly.
whatever.
I don't have to do that.
And it's gonna be hard because honestly, like, all right, for someone like me, like I don't watch wrestling now. Right, but I love the WWE network because I do want to go see what was happening in '96. So for me to be able to check out the pay-per-views from WWE and WCW and ECW in '96, and then scroll right and see the same what was going on in the UFC in that year, and like just a list. Like I like the idea of my UFC and my WWE being together.
Yeah.
I don't know how many UFC fans are WWE fans, but I know I would be willing to bet a majority of WWE fans are also UFC fans.
I'd agree with that. I
could see you not wanting to go
from
down in
from
realness.
UFC to WWE, but I can WWE to UFC definitely,
because it's like when I go to whenever I went to WWE events or just wrestling events in general, like you can only talk about what's happening in the ring and what's happened last week for so long. When you sit next to someone and you overhear their 3-hour convo, and it's longer than 3 hours because you got to be getting online, getting in. They stop talking about wrestling. They start talking about football. They start talking about basketball. Fans of wrestling tend to just be fans of just that type of entertainment period.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. And I think that's going to translate a lot. I think it's going to get people a lot more into just combat sports, just that fighting, wrestling, that world, you know what I'm saying? And hopefully that'll translate to boxing in a way that's not fucking Jake Paul fucking fighting.
Well, Jake Paul's in WWE now. He's a full-time wrestler in WWE now. You see what I'm getting at here?
I'm out.
You see what I'm getting at here? Like, yo, real shit though, I just want to say that the fucking Dana White, Vince McMahon celebration party is gonna be gross. Like, yo, that is gonna be a nasty ass celebration. The merger party, that shit is gonna be gross. You want to talk about hush money?
There's gonna be cocaine and steroids for everyone,
and Vietnamese escorts. Like, yo,
listen, only the finest. All right, when you're messing with Vince, you're treated like a prince.
Oh, man. But, yeah, it should be interesting. We'll see how it goes. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see Stone Cold come out and Stone Cold Stunner Dana White. You know what I'm saying? Pour the beer down.
That would be great.
That would be awesome.
That would be great.
You know what I mean? I would also like to see, fucking there's a UFC match going on, and the next thing you know, the lights go out and Undertaker's theme hits, and now he's coming out. You know what I'm saying? And you got to interfere in fucking a UFC fight. That would be funny. But
that would be great.
I don't think much is going to come to it. I just think these two white men are going to make a lot more money. One thing I'll say is I'm happy is that there's a lot of talk has been going on about Vince wanting to sell WWE, and I like the fact that he's doing something that he's still in control of. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Even if he wants to, step away from it, his family can still work in the organization because they'll have Dana White there with the parent company. It just seems like the WWE is not going to leave the McMahon family now, and that was a big concern of a lot of fans,
Okay, and my final thoughts, I hope they set up Rey Mysterio, 619, and Conor McGregor. So that's what I want. All right, I'm a paying customer. Give it to me. And what about you?
You know, I'd like to see Conor McGregor versus The Rock. That would be fun.
That'd be
I
fun.
want The Rock to come back and face Conor McGregor. That would be
Okay.
cool. I'll tune in for that.
All right.
Those are two charismatic people. I want to see I'd tune in to Raw.
Yeah.
I want to see the lead up to that one.
Yeah.
I want to see The Rock and Conor McGregor going back and
That's
forth.
fair. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
But as always, let us know what you think. Do you think it's a big deal? Do you think things are going to change in the UFC? Do you think things are going to change in the WWE? Do you think that Vince McMahon's going to get back on the roids again? You know, just give it one more go. You know, Dana versus Vince. That'd be a great pay-per-view. I'd pay for that too. First of the month show. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. We out.